Okay, so you should have your station all set up now with your brushes, your watercolor pencils. They have the little brush on them, and a paper towel. So we're gonna start. Our first is a flat wash. So you're gonna color nice and neat. Remember, good craftsmanship, all in the same direction. And you want to keep that color nice and smooth. So you don't have any dark areas or lighter areas. You want to have the same value all the way across. Then you're going to get some water on your brush and you're going to paint all in the same direction also. So get water on your brush. If there's extra, squeeze it on the inside of the bucket and then paint the whole area once, and you can mix it a little bit more. Next is graded wash. So we want to color one area a little bit darker, so that means you're pressing harder with your pencil. And then as you move to the right, you want to press lighter and lighter with your pencil. Then you're going to pull some color out of that section, and your color should go from dark to light. So less color on the right side, more color on the left. So you want to get that nice value scale. Next is a 2-color gradient. So that means we're going to mix 2 colors in the middle. So start with one color and you're going to color a little bit darker and then move a little bit lighter as you go towards the center. And then on the other side, take a different color. And remember to think about the color wheel. Primary colors make secondary and so on. So now you're going to take water and you're going to drag the color to the center, and they should mix in the middle. This is complementary colors, so they're going to make kind of a gray, a neutral color in the middle. Next is lifting. This is great for clouds or highlights. You want to have a nice, smooth, even wash. So I'm going to color this with good craftsmanship, nice and neat and even, the same value all the way across. And you want to make sure when you're doing lifting that you have everything ready to go, because you have to do this kind of quickly. So once I wet this, I'm going to make sure I have my paper towel scrunched and ready. When you're doing lifting, you want to make the paper towel uneven. You're going to wet the area, then you're going to press down with the paper towel and lift straight up. Don't wipe, lift it straight up and leave it. Okay, pencil on wet means you're going to wet the area first. So first you're going to put water down. Again, make sure that you're brushing in the same direction, nice and neat. Then you're going to use your watercolor pencil on top of that. So you can kind of play around with this and see the different ways that the water will blend the watercolor pencil out. Try coloring in a little bit, try leaving some areas open and see what happens. Wetting your pencil, make sure that you are not setting your pencil in the water and leaving it. It'll ruin the pencil. Instead, you're going to take your brush and use the water on your pencil. So just brush it onto the pencil. You can dip the pencil in a little bit and use it that way too, but don't set your pencil in the water and leave it. It'll ruin the pencil. It's a little bit easier wetting the pencil with the brush. You can see how that works a little better. Okay, we're gonna mix on the brush this time. This one's really fun. You need a flat brush for this. You're going to make sure your brush is wet and you're gonna color on your brush 2 different colors. So we're gonna color one color at the bottom and a different color at the top, and then we're going to brush that on, and you can see it automatically mixes it right on the paper. So you can keep doing that and play around with your colors and see how they mix. Splatter is fun, but you got to be careful not to do this too much. So wet your brush, and then you're just going to kind of flick off of the pencil, and you can do several colors and they'll kind of mix while it's still wet. If you do two colors on top of each other, it'll mix a little bit on the paper. Be very careful using it. Sgraffito means scratching. We can use this in a lot of different areas, painting. We can use it with clay. So what you want to do is wet the area that you're working on top of your colored pencil, then take your bottom of your brush and you're going to scratch in different textures. So you don't want to press hard enough to rip the paper, but you want to press hard enough that it'll kind of leave an indent. And it's a great way to make different textures, grass, textures on your plants. Pen and ink is kind of a fancy way to say that we're using Sharpie or permanent marker, and you can paint right over because it's permanent. You can draw some texture, some details with your Sharpie, and then you can draw right over. Try not to use this too much on our project because you don't want it to look not realistic. So you can use it a little bit here and there. So once I draw with my Sharpie, then I'm going to color over it with my watercolor pencil and then wet that. You can also do Sharpie on top of the watercolor pencil as long as the paper is dry. Don't use your Sharpie on wet paper. It'll ruin your Sharpie and probably rip your paper. This one's always a favorite, salt. So salt will pick up water and also color with it. So it leaves a nice little texture and you actually get rid of the salt when you're all done. So first you're going to paint your paper however you want. You can use the wet pencil, or you can use a wash, and then you sprinkle the salt on. If you put too much salt, you're not going to notice the texture. So try it a couple different ways. Put a tiny sprinkle of salt on there. You don't want too much. If you clump the salt on, you really can't see the texture. But what's going to happen is it's going to lift up the water and the color at the same time and leave little speckles. So this is a great one to create texture. Okay, layers, the most common technique in watercolor. You're going to use a lot of layers, and there's several ways to do it. So first, I painted a color and I let it dry completely. I can draw over the top with the watercolor pencil and not wet it and leave some texture, or I can color over the top and wet it and let those mix together. So you can create different colors, you can create highlights and shadows, and different techniques.